Today I am off to the hairdresser. And quite a few people have asked me to tell them about what I ask for when I'm at the hairdresser, and do I have curly cuts, do I go and see a curly hair specialist? And so today I'm going to try and address all of your questions. A couple of things I wanted to mention. I'm going to start getting ready. I am very new to YouTube, really. This is all still like a learning experience for me. Today I'm going to have to go outside into the big scary world with my camera, and I feel quite uncomfortable and a little bit nervous about that, I'll be completely honest. But I am prepared to do it because the only way you get comfortable at something, I think, is obviously by doing it. I guess I'm just kind of giving myself a bit of a caveat to you guys that I'm sorry if this feels a little bit awkward, and I will do my absolute best to get all the information that you want and show you as much as I possibly can. So yeah, that's my caveat to I'm sorry if this feels a bit clunky and awkward. I will do my best. And then the second thing that I kind of wanted to mention now is, this will seem like a weird aside, but stay with me. I'm a brow and lash artist. That is my way that I earn a living. It's what I do, that's my job, self-employed, absolutely love it. And the reason I'm telling you this is because one of my clients, she is my hairdresser. Her name is Charlotte, and she is a very, very lovely human being. It does mean that I had the opportunity to talk to Charlotte about filming and whether she was comfortable with that. She is comfortable for me to film. She, however, is not comfortable about being on camera, and particularly about talking on camera. So she did say she really, really doesn't want to have to talk on camera, and I completely understand and appreciate that. So what I thought I would do is I might still record her telling me all of the technical detail, just so that if you do want to be able to ask your hairdresser, you've got the right terminology, because sometimes I feel like it can get quite confusing. So those were the two things. Like, it might feel a bit clunky because I'm not used to vlogging outside of the comfort of my own home. And then secondly, Charlotte doesn't want to talk on camera, which I think is absolutely fair. So I'm gonna go and finish getting ready, or I'm gonna be late. And I will see you guys a little bit later. This is now 4 weeks later, so we're at the beginning of May, and I had my hair done at the beginning of April. However, I'm only just getting around to editing the footage. Complete transparency from me, as always, with my channel. When I walked into the salon, kind of unexpectedly, there was another client in there and another hairdresser, and I wasn't expecting that because, to be honest, Charlotte works freelance out of the salon, and usually has the place to herself when I've had my hair done with her in the past, and it's a new, like someone new had joined. So that slightly threw me, and because I was already feeling a bit nervous, it just made me feel so self-conscious to get out my little tripod and my camera. So basically, don't worry, I got braver. This is not me just going to be telling you all about it now. I have filmed. However, what I didn't capture on camera was the consultation process. And obviously Charlotte had already said to me that she didn't want to talk on camera, but I was just going to show the footage of us chatting, and then I was going to do a voiceover. But I haven't got that footage because I wasn't brave enough. I'm going to have to explain now what we talked about. So here's what I asked for. So I want to have healthy hair, blonde hair, low maintenance hair, and that I also want to really, really grow my hair. So I'm aiming to get my hair as long as I can get it, basically, and then reevaluate. So those are the things that I said to Charlotte when she asked me, what is it that you're looking to achieve? Those are the 4 key things. So a couple of things that Charlotte said back to me as part of that consultation was, she then delved a little bit further into how I was feeling about my colour at the time, and I said that I felt it was still very bright, that I didn't feel like I had any brassy tones within the blonde. However, the areas of concern for me were my greys that were coming through, particularly on my parting. I seemed to have a patch where they were, coming through a bit more intensely, so that was kind of my main concern. And secondly, that I didn't really feel like it needed a lot of blonde added this time because it still felt very fresh. So she then suggested a few baby lights, they're called, and a face frame just to brighten around this area, obviously, the face, and it will also help to add contrast while working with my natural colour. So previously I'd had low lights to break up some of the blonde, and apparently that helps to add more dimension to your hair. But this time, rather than adding the low lights, she just only weaved in some very, very fine baby highlights and a face frame, and then the rest was just allowing my natural colour to grow in to break up that blonde. And she said partly that's going to help be really, really low maintenance, and it's kind of like, I've heard this term quite a few times now, it's like that lived-in blonde. And then she also was going to do a root smudge to blend in the colour and help blur out the remaining greys, and it just creates a really beautiful natural lived-in look which will be very low maintenance. That all sounded great to me. It sounded just what I was asking for, so completely agreed. She offers Olaplex. I have had Olaplex in my colour since it first launched, really. As soon as hairdressers in my area started offering it, I went for it and I've never looked back. That was everything in terms of kind of like the consultation. After the highlights were ready to be washed out, obviously we went over to the sink. This is my favourite part because as you lie backwards, all your wrinkles smooth out. It really is an absolute pleasure. Anyway, that's an aside. So after the highlights come out, the root smudge goes on, and that's quite a process because it kind of goes on all the way through by sectioning your hair. So that took quite some time. I reckon that was a 30-minute process. And everything about my colour, I would say, is very, very subtle and very, very natural. And although you're in the hairdresser for a really long time, if you're somebody who has had like full sets of traditional highlights or half a head of highlights in the past, you know, bleach highlights, and then you go to this much more lived-in look, when you first come away, I sort of think, gosh, it really doesn't look that different. But that's sort of the whole point, isn't it? Because that's how you achieve that lived-in, low-maintenance look. It's not supposed to be dramatic. And because it's not going to be dramatic, it's not going to grow out and have that defining line that I used to get with traditional highlights of, oh my God, my roots need doing. After the root smudge, which I completely forgot to mention, also includes a toner, and I opt for a creamy blonde finish. I don't want to be too ashy and I don't want to be too warm, so creamy is a nice kind of in-between colour. And now it's ready for the cut. Charlotte had talked to me during the consultation about the options of either potentially carrying on with what I have at the moment, which is a blunt cut. She explains that a blunt cut helps finer hair look and feel thicker and adds like weight to the ends. Or alternatively, I could have some longer layers cut in, and the benefit of this is it creates a little bit more movement for my natural waves. I asked her what she thought was best, and she recommended sticking with a blunt cut just while I'm still growing out an old fringe and also some of the older damage, which is now pretty close to the ends. So we talked about it and she agreed that we'd revisit the longer layers perhaps in another couple of visits' time. One of the things that I do also think is important to highlight, I don't consider myself as having curly hair. I have a loose wave pattern, and it's taken me quite a while to realise that. But generally, I don't believe that I need to see a curly specialist at the moment, and I would have to travel quite far, to be frank, to actually find one. So for me, for my hair, I'm very happy to see Charlotte because I think she's absolutely amazing at what she does, and her colour work is just beautiful. And then one last thing to mention, I ask for a wet cut because I'm trying to avoid damage. Charlotte likes to dry the front piece, and that's so that she can check I'm happy with the colour. So my after footage here is with my hair that's still kind of 70 to 80% wet and drying naturally from sort of, you know, the face frame backwards. And obviously the face area has been blow dried. Slightly strange look. This footage of me a week or so later is how the colour actually looked once it was fully dry.
I love it. It's so natural. I still feel super blonde, but it feels incredibly healthy. And major bonus, I won't need it done again for another 4 months. I hope this has been helpful, guys, and I hope it answers the questions that you might have had. But if you still have questions, please just pop them in the comments and I will get back to you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, bye.